So I got a very awesome box as a part of a beta test from Flexwheel. Let's check it out. And here it is, a new XP addition to the Flexwheel lineup. And this thing is a 100mm flex wheel. Okay, how does the Flexwheel XP fit into your printer? This will be a Bowden style extruder for most 3D printers, except for mine, you know, because I'm crazy like that. But this will sit off to the side of your printer, probably bolt to the side of it, and then feed filament through a Bowden style tube into your hot end. Just because the weight of this thing is too heavy for your little NEMA 17 motors to push around with any given speed and accuracy. In this setup, it'll be recommended as a Bowden style extruder, but I'm crazy enough, I am going to direct drive this mug. So let's go ahead and get this put together. Super excited to try it out. Ta-da! Like, these are all the tools you need. No grinders or anything. Just a couple Allen keys and a screwdriver. A little Phillips head. That's it. Of course, I do recommend Loctite whenever possible. And I'll probably Loctite these three main bolts here at the end of the flex wheel. Because I noticed they would get loose in the other flex wheel, so I'll Loctite those off camera. This whole setup probably weighs about 5 pounds. Most of that is this guy right here. Overall, the Flexwheel XP doesn't add much to the weight. But like I said, it's still way too heavy for your regular 3D printer. Ugh, it's a beast. There we go. So one Flexwheel extruder. And it came with an extra piece. I think these are actually the ones that are meant for this, but since this is a beta version, what I got was I think I got what was available in stock, and so these white ones are for the regular flex wheel. So we'll just use a couple of those and hold on to this one. Like I said, this is a beta version of the flex wheel, so things are subject to change. Probably swap out these plates for aluminum ones like the other flex wheel, maybe. May even go even more aluminum parts. Or not. I mean, this thing is mostly printed at the moment, so it's a mostly printed extruder, and should be good. I'm going to direct drive mine, which means I'm going to run it in Hale Design Tech's signature style, which is upside down. And I'll mount my hot end off here. So I believe it's got a hot end port, just like so. And I just need to print a piece to go in here. Then it'll mount like this. I don't know if these are exactly designed for this, but they fit this groove mount system that E3D uses. Actually, it's been around for a while, but This E3D hot end, Volcano hot end should fit right in here, no problem. I just need to print a little piece here to go in the slot. So let me design that up and get that printed, and we'll get an attachment going for this on the printer itself. I'm excited to try this thing out. So here's the Flexwheel, pretty beastly extruder in itself, but this one is way more fitting of the Autocrafter, I would say. And you have to forgive the zip tie, you know me and zip ties. I'm going to be printing an part for that pretty soon, but here's the mounts I've got so far. Still much of a work in progress, but it's getting there. And it's hot swappable just like this. It's in this dovetail mount, and so does this one. So I can swap between both of these extruders just by pulling the little red handle you see. I'm going to use this little ETFT, but see where that tube's pointing? That little red thing back there? I flip that handle and you can pull the whole extruder out. Pretty cool. And then swap it in for this one, or anything else running this dovetail system. So this is literally the first test. Right now it's leveling the bed. Let's do a bed level sequence, and we'll get the first print going with the new Flexwheel XP Beta Edition. What's the first print going to be? It's going to be a replacement to this guy. This was a generative design part, but I don't think I have my forces and stuff set, so it's a little too flimsy. I'm going to have to reprint that. So I'm printing my own design of this, not generative design, and then I'll do another generative design on this again. I like I can't even say the word. I'm just going to stop. I like the way this design works, but you really got to know forces and how your thing's going to be applied, and I'm still learning a lot of that stuff. So this should technically be straight up and down, but now it's kind of at an angle back that way. So this piece right here is the first print on the Flexwheel XP mounted in direct drive, which you'll never see on any other printer, because who would do this besides me? First print on the Flexwheel XP. It's going pretty well so far. unclick from the extruder, which means skip the step. I think it's skipped. We'll have to see. Okay, so here's the first print. It's got classic signs of under extrusion, and looks like it just stopped halfway through. The first couple layers were going down pretty good, so I'm not quite sure what happened. Taking the extruder apart, taking the hot end off, and here's the down pipe. If I run this out, I can stop it with just holding it like this. And that thing's just spinning. So it's not gripping. I should not be able to stop it like that. And it's plenty tight. Like, I don't want to crank it down anymore. So those screw heads are basically almost touching all the way around. I don't know what's happening. Warning, I got some handheld footage for you, but I'm trying to figure out why I was losing grip with the flex wheel. So I took it off, kind of played with it, noticed there was a slit that went inside the groove here, all the way around. So it looks like this back piece here was easily able to peel off. So I'm going to have to re-glue it. Got in contact with the manufacturer and he gave me specifications for glue, but I just couldn't find it or get it, or anybody selling it or getting it delivered in time. Wanted a quick turnaround on this, so went by the local hardware store and got this Bonsall plastic, and we'll see if this actually will do the trick to re-glue this here. And so what happened after talking with the manufacturer, it's two pieces, front and back, and I probably over tightened it and split the glue seam, kind of like a wedge between two surfaces. Not much this thing could have done to withstand that unless it had been like one piece form molded. So maybe the manufacturer can take some clues from this and maybe design a better way to manufacture this flex wheel. But should be just a re-glue and should just peel off the back here. And to be honest, that is a little easy to take off. So that's probably why I failed, was the glue was a bit weak in my opinion. And also I gotta watch how tight I make this thing. Turns out you're only supposed to tighten it just barely. This thing has plenty of grip once you get it just squeezed. So let me re-glue this and let's check it out. We had some layer height issues there in the beginning, then it pulled through. We'll figure what that's all about. Cool. That's a pretty big calibration cube. Got some issues with stringing and not laying down correctly. Few issues to solve. 0.6 millimeter layer height. Definitely bumpy. But she's a square block. Here we go. And besides from doing CAD wrong, part seems to be pretty good for a 1 millimeter nozzle. I did notice that the hot end is a little looser than it should be, but still prints pretty good parts. Nice and solid. And this is a 2-hour print. Pretty crazy. Like something like this would normally take like 8, 9, 10 hours. 2 hours. That Flexwheel XP is a beast. I know this is super zoomed in, but notice that there's a crack developing on the bearing race holder, which is the outside clamping shell here. So if I squeeze it, you can see that line up here in the middle there. So I don't know if this is a problem with the design and it was caused afterwards or during the manufacturing process of the printing of this part. But yeah, it's definitely a crack, but it's going the opposite way that I would expect it to be. I would expect it to crack on the outside since the forces are being pushed against these bearings, but not sure what's happening. But I've noticed that as a problem. Okay, so after re-gluing, this flex wheel is tight and the bearings aren't adjusted to be tight as it should be. But I still feel that there's something wrong with the flex wheel. Even though I can get some prints out of it, it's still nowhere near the amount of strength that I think it should have. There's too much flex on these 3D printed parts because I can hold on to this down pipe here and extrude and it just spins. With the flex wheel, regular flex wheel, that wouldn't, that'd be really hard for me to do, but this one's actually pretty easy to stop it, and it literally slips inside here. So I glued the flex wheel back together, and so I don't think it's the split. So I think the position of these bearings needs to come out and down so it pushes more on the filament as well as in it. And maybe since this is a 3 millimeter filament, maybe need an extra set of bearings running around the middle here. I don't know. Just a thought. But yeah, definitely, even with the flex wheel repaired, I can still stop this thing way easier than I should be able to. So there's still some development that needs to happen here. Maybe replace these plates with aluminum ones like the other flex wheel, or maybe a different kind of gripping mechanism, or maybe I just have a dud here. I don't know, but I can definitely stop it with my hands, and I don't see any good reason for that. So this is a beta version. Hopefully we'll get some of these issues fixed, and I'm super excited to get an extruder of this size running on this autocrafter. That would be absolutely awesome. Can't end a video like that. Alright, so let's take this thing apart real quick to show you. It should be in working order. The filament just slips in the wheel. So there's probably something wrong with the flex wheel itself. Not sure, but glue's holding. It's not a glue problem. So let me take it apart and I'll show you. Huh. Well, this just snapped. Took it off, this flipped down, and it snapped that right off. The other one looked like it came off a little bit too. Didn't come out of that. Oh, yep, that's loose. Yeah. So I don't know if these 3D printed parts can withstand, you know, idiots like me. So I don't think anything's wrong with the setup and the wheel, but like I said, like I was showing you, the filament, I can stop it with my hand, and I should not be able to do that, and it causes these little hiccups or whatever in the filament flow. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it locks in and starts doing what it should, but other times it, for some whatever reason, it starts slipping. And yeah, usually on retractions and then reflowing again. Okay, come on, there we go. All right, so let's examine this under the microscope. And as far as I can tell, that seal is good in there. There's no, not that you can really tell on camera, but yeah, she's solid. It's not a problem of coming apart again. It's just the squeeze, man. Just not quite squeezable. Doesn't squeeze enough. So I think the flex wheel's fine. It just needs, the bearing races here need to be, it pushes too high, so they need to squeeze more here, and then maybe one that needs to run over the top so the filament can't escape that way. So maybe another row of bearings on this back plate here. So ones that push out here and another one that pushes like kind of where these are, and then the sandwich one can come in. So like a shark, a couple rows of teeth, you know? That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, this flex wheel's fine, but it just, for whatever reason, man, it just wants to slip. And I think we could do better with this back plate. I did notice that in direct drive mode, that when it does retractions and pushes again, that these screw holes slip a little bit on the inside there, so the actual flex wheel kind of in direct drive mode kind of like moves just ever so slightly on retractions. The whole extruder, the whole hot end assembly here is picked up and pushed down ever so slightly when it changes directions, and that's just because of the force going down and coming up with against the torque of the flex wheel against this back bearing plate. There's just ever so bit of flex there, and it just tweaks everything. So in direct drive mode, I know this wasn't designed for direct drive, it doesn't quite work because of that flex, and it's enough to throw off a 3D print because it raises probably about a 0.5 millimeter. So those are some problems with it, but I love the concept. It has great potential, and I want to see what Flexwheel does with it. Hey guys, if you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you do, then maybe YouTube will recommend this video to other people who might like it too, and so they can learn about the Flexwheel XP or some other things that I'm working on. Who knows? If you want to know more about the Auto Crafter, I got some videos popping up on the screen here and over here somewhere. Go ahead and check those out, and see you later. Peace.